Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington, bringing you guys another Pool Week video. I got, how many books? I'm reviewing 6 books today, 2 online, and as usual I'll start off with the books that I read online first. Again, 2 books, 1 Marvel, 1 DC, and we'll go starting with DC, and we'll go Swamp Thing issue 23. This is the second part of the Swamp Thing Constantine, the Whiskey Tree arc. And I have to say before anything, I really enjoyed this whole story arc. This issue, probably, it had a moment in this issue that probably got me the most pissed off. Like, story-wise, in a good way, it got me the most pissed off than any other book this week did. Just because I was like, that's messed up. And I don't think I'm spoiling anything. If you haven't read it, I guess skip a couple seconds. But that part where Constantine forces the whiskey down the pregnant lady and her husband's mouth, I was just like, that is messed up. That is messed up. So, but the whole issue itself was really good, and I really enjoyed the art. Anytime I read a Swamp Thing book, I always have sympathy for the artist, because drawing Swamp Thing that many times is not easy at all if you're going to do it right. And so, I would never want to take that gig unless I was getting paid a lot of money and had a lot of time, because that seems hard. But anyways, the issue itself, Charles Soule, I feel like this is Charles Soule's baby right now, that this is his book. He's on Thunderbolts at Marvel, and the 2 issues he's been on have been okay, but a Swamp Thing issue is just top of the line. Just really good writing. I would say from the DC books that I read, one of the best. I mean, I can't really say that because I don't read that much DC, but still, it's really good. I encourage anybody to read it. The one thing I'm kind of on, I might not do 23.1. I might not do that issue just because I don't even know who Arcane is, and I didn't know that anything had happened to him before, so, I might skip it just because I don't know, and go ahead and continue with 24 with the continuation of the Cedar stuff. But Swamp Thing, issue 23, really good. And the books that I read this week were all pretty good, to extremely good. And Swamp Thing was extremely good, as well as the next book I read online, which was Superior Spider-Man issue 15. Pull it up. This book, this story, it brought me back in. Issue 14 with the Shadowland stuff. I didn't really enjoy that. It was alright, but I didn't really enjoy that issue. But this issue, what it did for me, did the same thing for a lot of people that I've heard from. Just like, it brought them back in to this story. And really, the complaint that I have is with Ramos. His art throughout the issue was bearable for me. I'm not that I'm not a stickler on art, like I've said before, but man, he needs to fix. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but the way he draws that one girl, Anna, I think her name is, the girl that kind of Doc Ock, Peter Parker is kind of like, I guess you could say, dating. The way he draws her, he makes her look like she's a freaking 7-year-old. And he makes, either she's a 7-year-old who's like 3'1", or he makes Peter Parker look like he's 7'8", because the size difference was so astronomical. And she looks like she's in kindergarten. So I don't know what you were thinking, Ramos. I don't know if Dan Slott said, draw this way. I doubt it. I'll leave it at that, because it was just not good. But the rest of the issue, again, I don't really I don't really get on it. Just that one character was just so bad that I could not turn a blind eye to it. But story-wise, Dan Slott definitely has a better grip of Doc Ock than he did of Peter Parker, because this is really good. Pretty much, I don't want to get into too much detail with it, because I don't want to make this review too long. But Hobgoblin is kind of strapped for cash, and he's trying to get some money to pay back the original Hobgoblin, and also to pay back the Tinkerer that he had make him some bombs and things of that nature. And he's kind of passing on Spider-Man's Spider-Bot alarms and surveillance because of something that the Green Goblin did. And at the end of this, I mean, the issue itself going through, it's pretty good. And then the end is what really gets me, and I'm like, okay, I am really enjoying this issue. That the cliffhanger we're left with, it was really good. And also, and I just noticed when I was reading it, we hadn't actually seen an artist draw Peter Parker, draw the look of Peter Parker in a couple of issues. I would go back to issue maybe 10. I think that might have been the last time we saw somebody draw Peter Parker, if not earlier, maybe later. But it's been a couple issues, so I was actually taken aback when I saw Peter Parker and, realized that I hadn't seen this character drawn in a long time. But the whole issue itself, pretty good, or really good, I should say. I can see where people are starting to drop it just because they don't want to have a book that is not good and then good. But I think I'm sticking with it. And now the 4 books I have here, 3 Marvel, 1 DC back issue, and I'll go in order from what I like the least to what I like the most. And start off with Deadpool Kills Deadpool, issue number 2. This issue was really good, or it was pretty good. I won't say it was like really, really good. The story kind of advanced, but this was more just a show off of different Deadpools and different ideas for Deadpools that Cullen Bunn could make up, and that he had Salva Espin, the artist, draw. And the art in here is fantastic. But it was really, again, just a show of Deadpools, and some of them were really cool. A lot of people are talking about the Panda Deadpool or the Panda Pool, which got spoiled for me like 7 times before I even got to read this. And at the end of this, there's a crazy type of Deadpool that shows up that, things are getting really wacky. There's one Deadpool in here that nobody's really talking about called Cesspool, and I don't know, it kind of reminds me of that like blobby monster with a lot of mouths from Helheim that people were showing off, so maybe Cullen Bunn was thinking about that when he had Espin draw that. But really, this was really just an action issue and for jokes. This didn't, I don't believe a story was really advanced throughout this issue. It was funny. But again, I don't think it was great. Like, I would take the Marvel Now ongoing Deadpool series, an issue of that over this, because I think that stuff advances stories very well while telling actually even funnier jokes. But this issue wasn't bad. I enjoyed it a lot, just saying that there wasn't very much advancement in the story. But I did like seeing Evil Deadpool again. He was kind of hinted at coming back at some point, I think in Daniel Way's run, and just wasn't used after that. So it's good to see Evil Deadpool back in this. But again, I've said what I had to say on it. Next issue, going to DC, Batman Superman issue number 2. This is the back issue that I was talking about, and this issue was better than the first issue. it didn't get me to the point where I was like all in with it. I very much enjoyed it though. The ending of this was crazy. Was not expecting that to happen, and I think that's where a lot of people got drawn in when that happened. It drew me in a bit, but not to be fully in. But I did like a lot of things that happened in this book. There's a lot of character camp. There's a lot of character interaction with the two Supermans and two Batmans and things like that, and I thought that was really cool. And just there was cool stuff done in here. The Jay Lee art didn't really bother me, besides with the two Batmans being by each other. I didn't really. If they would have made one Batman look completely different from the other one, like if he had the yellow shield on his chest, like if the younger Batman had the yellow shield on his chest and had like a more blue costume than what was given to him in this, I think that would have been better because they look a lot the same. Whereas the two Supermans, you can clearly tell them from each other. So that was my only gripe with the art, but really I didn't even notice anything bad with it. The fact that I was like, I don't know which Batman I'm looking at. But the story-wise, this was really good. But unless I find it for $1 again, I don't think I'm gonna pick it up. Another book. This book, it took me on a loop, and this is Superior Carnage, issue number 2. I almost said 3. This was issue number 2, Superior Carnage, and at first I'm thinking that the writing in this was just awful, but really it's really smart the way that they were doing it. The way Kevin Shinick, the writer, it's really not a Carnage story yet. It's just Carnage is in it. This is really a story about the Wizard and his kind of scheme to control Carnage, and he's pretty much going crazy after some stuff that happened to him in FF, which I of course didn't read, but I get the gist that something happened to him that's making him pretty crazy now, and he's just losing his sanity. So like the writing in this, whenever he talks, it's kind of confusing. And throughout the book, at the start of it, you're kind of just like, this writing is confusing. But as you go through the book and more things are revealed, you're seeing that the writing is confusing on purpose, because this is like how the character is. This is how you would feel if you were actually listening to this character speak and in real life, because he's just confusing, because he's kind of demented. And so I thought that was really cool by the end of this, and it really changed my perspective on this book. And of course the art in here was absolutely fantastic. Nothing bad to say about the art in here. It was beautiful. And we get a little bit of the Superior Spider-Man. Really just, I see Dr. Octopus Spider-Man really just blowing off this whole Carnage thing. He knows about it, just doesn't really care. And I hope that it bites him in the ass, because I don't want him to have underestimated Carnage with, good reason. But then the end of this, I'm kind of iffy on. It's cool, but then also not cool. I'll leave it at that. But I will be continuing with this because I love Carnage, and I want to see if I can get all Carnage stuff in my collection. I need that first Carnage arc. One day I'll have it. But this book was pretty good. The ending is just, I'm hoping that the writing can do something with it, and then at the end of the story we get some resolves, because if not, that will kind of suck. And then finally, the book of the week, my pick of the week by far, I already said it was going to be my haul video, Daredevil Dark Knights, issue number 3. This book, this is the end of the first story in this anthology. Lee Weeks wrote such an amazing story, and I feel so bad for everybody else who did not read these first 3 issues. I would recommend you to go pick it up. $2.99 book. You don't have to know anything about Daredevil. It's not in continuity with the Daredevil going on now. So, you could just pick it up from issue 1 and just go. The art in here is fantastic. Again, the art and writing are by Lee Weeks. So yeah, the art is fantastic. The writing is so freaking good. I don't know what to say about it. I just want you guys to read this. You just have to pick it up for yourselves and see what I'm talking about. This was so absolutely fantastic. From the art to the writing to the story, the twists and the turns, and just the characterization of Daredevil himself, the layout, everything was just so good, and it's awesome. I love this book. I love this book. So anyways, that's all the books for this week. 6 books, all pretty good. I enjoyed them all. No minor gripes with some, and then that one piece of art from Ramos was a major iffy on me. That was not good. But everything else was fine, especially Daredevil. Loved it, and that's it for me, guys. Yeah, have nothing else to say. So I'm Wellington signing off the Comic Book Lowdown. I'll see you guys next time.